all those books I said I was going to read last month. Yeah, I did not do that. Hey guys, it's Kira. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, you see by the title, is a wrap-up video. And I can't believe that I'm filming this right now. Like, there is no way that it is pretty much the end of March. Also, I'm sorry the lighting is kind of weird. It's like raining right now, and it's also like 9:30 in the morning. I have to film this pretty fast. So if you don't know how these videos work, I'm basically just gonna tell you guys everything that I read this month, give you my rating, my thoughts on it. Make sure to follow all my socials down below, my Instagram, TikTok. Follow me at Goodreads if you want to be friends on that. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let's just get right into it. The first book that I read this month is now one of my all-time favorite books. It's Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. I gave this book an infinity out of 5 stars. Like, there is literally not a moment where I don't think about this book. Like, that's when you know it's such a good book, if you think about it all the time. Oh my god, first of all, this book emotionally wrecked me. This book just made me go through so many emotions. Like, I can't even. Sydney and Oliver, oh my god, they're so meant to be. Just quickly, this book is about Oliver, who was kidnapped when he was a child and ends up escaping like 22-ish years later, 20, it's something like that. He kind of has to come back and readapt to the world. Sydney, who was his childhood best friend, happens to still be living right across the street from him, and is like really good friends with his stepbrother. Oh my god, it was so beautifully written. The story is so beautiful. And there's also, I didn't even realize, a mystery aspect to this. Oliver is literally the sweetest, purest soul ever, and I just want to protect him from the world. And the meaning behind Lotus, I was sucked in the whole entire time. That's how good it was. Like, I could not put it down. Look up trigger warnings and all that stuff. It was, oh my god, it was incredible. It was incredible. You have to read this book because this was, oh my god. I will recommend this book for the rest of my life. I actually read these next 3 books for a video, which was reading books out of my comfort zone. I'll link it up here. The first book was The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I'm really sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it, but a mystery thriller book. It was my first mystery thriller book, and I honestly really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 to 5 stars. I won't go like into much depth about it because I literally did a whole video on it, so if you want to know like my full thoughts, go watch that video. But for my first mystery thriller, it was really enjoyable. Like, I didn't guess the plot twist at all. The reading was just so addictive, and I honestly think it's like a really solid read. Yeah, overall really enjoyed it, and definitely plan on picking up more mystery thrillers in the future. The next book after that, I read Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, which is the first book in the Brutal Birthright series, and I ended up giving this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. This book is just basically like a mafia romance, and I've never read a mafia romance, and I honestly don't think they're for me. I said this in the video and I explained it more in that video. It was okay, a lot more spicier than I thought it was gonna be. I don't see myself picking up any more mafia romances in the future. 3.5 out of 5 stars. That's what I read second in that video. And lastly, for that video, I read A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I gave this book a 4 to 5 stars. It was so good. Like, I didn't even expect myself to love the book as much as I did. And yeah, this is the first book in the ACOTAR series, if you don't know. It was like my first kind of like full, like, heavy fantasy book. I'm really excited to continue with the series. I was so invested in the world. But yeah, again, I really talked a lot about it in that video, so I won't waste your time. Yeah, I read the first book in the ACOTAR series, guys. Be proud of me and be excited that I liked it. Next up, we have Consider Me by Becca Mack, which is the first book in Playing for Keeps 2 books now, but I think there's going to be a 3rd book coming out soon. It's a hockey romance, and I ended up giving this a 4.25 out of 5 stars. This is about Olivia and Carter, and basically Carter is like this NHL player. He's like this playboy, you know, typical hockey player thing. It's kind of like he was a player until he met me. Yeah, I loved Carter. Like, oh my god, I love him. This book was a little long, for being honest. I was enjoying it until the 3rd act breakup. They are good for this much of the book, and then the 3rd act breakup and all that happens. This little chunk of the book is when everything goes to shit, and like that because there's not enough time for groveling, and I love me some groveling. So I love the side characters in this book. Can't wait to read the next book in the series and then the one that comes after that. Overall, 4.25 out of 5 stars. Consider Me by Becca Mack. Alright, next up is kind of like a just picked it up because kind of book. This was on Amazon Prime Reading, and it's Irresistible by Melanie Harlow. This is my first book by her, and I really liked her writing style. Basically, this is a small town, single parent, nanny book, and also age gap. Not really. It's 10 years, so technically it is age gap. About Franny, and his name's Mac, but his real name's Declan. But yeah, they kind of work together. Franny is like a receptionist, and she's also the nanny. Mac's got 3 daughters. They've been like kind of like friends and like friendly with each other for a while. I give this a 3 to 5 stars. It just like wasn't doing it for me. I think it was just like too short, if being honest. I wish it kind of showed them more at the beginning, because I felt like it started off with them already wanting to be with each other, and I wanted to see like how they first met, or like how they started becoming close. I kind of just wish we had more of that. It felt like Mac was like from the beginning not really in it because of the problems with his ex-wife and stuff like that. So I understand why he was hesitant, but I just wish that he communicated that in the beginning. I love the girls, the children in this book. I felt like they really did love Franny. Again, 3 to 5 stars. Overall, a pretty decent book, and I'm excited to read more by Melanie Harlow. Next book was another book that was on Amazon Prime Reading that I decided just to pick up this month, and I also saw that it was picking up more recently on Book Talks. I already had like a few books by this author that I wanted to read, and it was Until You by Katherine Mora. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I don't know if I want to give it like a 2.5 or a 3 out of 5 stars. Like, I have no idea. But it's like a brother's best friend. It's workplace because he ends up offering her a job at his like coding hacker company. Really can't even tell you what this book is about. Like, it was just not very memorable to me. I'm literally sorry. Like, I don't even know what to say about this book. Until You by Katherine Mora. I don't know. I don't really recommend this book. I'm sorry. Oh my god, this next book. Oh my god. Honestly, I already had low expectations going into it, so I'm not even surprised that I didn't love it. But it's Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, and I hated this book. I was so close to DNFing this book. Like, I have a problem where I can't DNF a book. Like, I don't know what it is about me. If you like this book, like, good for you. I'm not, like, dissing you for liking this book. It just, like, was not for me at all. Rated this a 3 to 5 stars, but I'm thinking I want to pull it down to a 2. Like, I might give this book a 2 out of 5 stars. If you don't know, this is book 3 in the Twisted series. I was honestly just reading this book to get to the 4th book, but this is about Jules and Josh, and they do not like each other, so it's kind of like a enemies with benefits kind of situation. I had no problem with Jules in this book. I actually really liked her. Like, she's probably one of my favorite Twisted women, other than Bridget. I had no problem with her. Like, I felt bad for her this entire book. She wasn't the problem, it was Josh. Josh was the problem. Can't even understand why people like him. I hated him. I hate him so much. They pretty much just like hate fuck, and that was my problem. Spoiler alert coming up in about 3 seconds. He literally did something, and then he said I lied, and then he kicked her out, and I literally almost threw this book out of my window because I could never forgive him. Why did she forgive him after that? Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I think I'm gonna move this down to 2 stars because now I'm just getting aggravated over it again. My life was truly so much better before I read this book. Like, oh, and Alex. I liked Alex in this book. He just seems to get better every single book after his book. Like, I didn't really like him in his book, but we saw him a lot in this book. He was just so much better. Twisted hate, no thank you from me. Next up, I'm so excited. So I did start Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi, and I did a whole reading vlog on this. I will link it up there. I finally started the Shatter Me series, and I freaking loved this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. If you want my more in-depth thoughts, then you can go watch that video. Overall, like, it was just so easy to read because it was YA and that the font was big. Definitely recommend picking up Shatter Me. Like, you have to start the series. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Excited. Next up, I picked up the novella that came after this, which is Stormy, and it picks up after Aaron's last encounter in Shatter Me, his point of view, and I can't really like say much about it without spoiling things. So I ended up just giving this a 3 to 5 stars. I mean, it's just like a 100-page novella. I have, again, a reading vlog on that if you want to see my reactions, my full in-depth thoughts to all of that. And next up was a book that I actually had on my TBR for a couple months. It's Dirty Curve by Megan Brandy. When I finished this book, I couldn't tell if this was like a really good book or if this book was just terrible. And in the end, I decided that this book was bad. This book was not good. 2 out of 5 stars. Like, people also didn't really like this book. But it's about this guy named Tobias. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's like the star baseball player for his college. Like, up to be drafted to the MLB at like the end of their season. But he's having some trouble with his grades. So he gets a tutor. I think her name's Mayor. This book had like so many plot twists and like other things going on to it that I was like so lost. Like, I couldn't even keep up what was going on. And like at the beginning, Tobias just would not shut up about how good he was. I don't know why, like, she doesn't want to be with me because I'm like this star pitcher and I'm going to the MLB and all that stuff. It was just like so annoying to me. Like, the Kindle version was like 400 and something pages long, and I was like, why is this book so long? Yeah, 2 out of 5 stars. I don't recommend this book at all. Not for me. And the last book that I read this month, picked up another book in the Shatter Me series, and this is the second book, which is Unravel Me. This continues on after Shatter Me, obviously. I can't talk much about this book because it would be giving it away, but it made me more obsessed with this world. What I will say is that I liked how more in depth this went in with the world and the powers and kind of just everything revolving around that. And we saw a good chunk of Warner in this book, and I still just, like, I'm still unsure about him. And then Kenji just solidified my love for him and I love his friendship with Juliet. And then Adam. So you learn something about Adam in this book, and it kind of affects his relationship with Juliet. I don't know, he was just like weird this book. I've already checked out Adam's novella for the library, so it's like, again, like probably like 100 pages, and I'm definitely going to finish it by the end of the month. I've heard that the next book is where everybody really falls in love with Aaron Warner, so I picked up the second book in the Shatter Me series. 4 to 5 stars. Definitely recommend the series. Alright, so those are all the books that I've read up until this point. It is March 28th when I'm filming this, so we still have like 4 days left in the month, so I could end up reading more books. I just had to get this video up by tomorrow, so my next video, which will be up 2 days after this video goes out, will be my April TBR, so definitely look out for that video. Make sure you guys follow all my socials down below, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!